Hello everyone. Extreme sports are the most spectacular and interesting even for people who absolutely do not understand anything about this. Because you must agree that it is much more interesting to watch a surfer entering a 10-meter wave or a climber climbing a steep cliff than fat millionaires chasing balls along golf course. Today we will look at the most extreme sports and at real guys who are able to challenge any natural element. They look danger straight in the eye, and luck helps to get up incredible tricks. Mountaineering is a hobby that can be called something more than just a grade, because a climber can be as trained and strong as he wants, and even if he can hang on his hands for at least a day, this is not enough for conquering heights. There is no ambulance in the mountains, there is no referee or a judge who, at a dangerous moment for an athlete, stops a fight with a rock or snowstorm. There are only carabiners and luck, and if the mountain does not give in under the onslaught of a brave, intrusive person on her body driving hooks into crevices, then it is likely that he will stay there forever and ever. And this is confirmed by the slopes of Everest, on which there are many bodies of people who did not reach the top, but each of them understood how everything could end, and was ready for such an outcome. This is a game of roulette with a mountain. Not everything depends on you. Hurricane wind, avalanche, a frozen valve on an oxygen tank, and this could be your first and last defeat in this sport. Every year, many climbers die around the world, but those who reach the top say that this game with death was worth it. Surfing. Rest assured, surfing is one of the most dangerous sports. The most powerful elements will have to resist. Tons of water fall on the unbalanced rider, which first hit him on the bottom, and then do not allow him to float up for a saving breath. A common injury is a fracture of the spine. It becomes fatal if there is no rescuer nearby. There are also many types of waves with different levels of danger and frequency of rolling. It is not uncommon for an athlete who has lost balance to get to the surface for a saving breath for more than 2 minutes, when the waves go one by one, preventing them from emerging. In this water grinder, it is difficult to navigate in space and understand where is the bottom, where the sky. But a person is made so as to throw a challenge to nature, and the failures of some only motivate others to repeat the same thing only better. And undoubtedly everyone who appears on the board in a huge wave is a master of his craft, and was not there by chance, because he is ready to conquer this wave or die. And a huge amount of luck also affects the outcome of this battle with the elements. Climbing, an incredibly exciting sport, even realizing that in case of human error, a safety rope will save you. It is impossible to calmly watch a climber climbing a steep wall, clinging to small ledges, it would seem. What could be more extreme? Perhaps only to go through one of the most difficult routes alone, and without insurance. Alex Honnold is the legend of the most extreme form of rock climbing. Solo climbing on natural terrain alone. On June 3, 2017, Alex set an incredible record as he climbed El Capitan Rock in Yosemite National Park without any belay or gear. Until that day, he had never completely passed El Capitan. It was more important to determine the optimal route and strategy, having dealt with the key areas separately. Honnold started at 5:32 a.m. and after 3 hours 56 minutes stood on top of a 910-meter cliff. The most dangerous section was at an altitude of 600 meters. The wall there is perfectly polished, the legs slide, dangle over the abyss, and the hands have nothing to catch on. Honnold did everything flawlessly. For the first time in the history of El Capitan, they conquered without equipment. StreetLagging. A very extreme sport, its essence lies in downhill down the motorway, while lying on a special board like a skateboard, downhill with sharp turns and turns, continues until the athlete reaches the end of the slope, well, or does not fly at a speed of up to 180 kilometers per hour in a bump-stop dividing traffic lanes. Far fewer people are fond of this sport than other extreme sports, and apparently everyone is on the scale of the action, because the risks are really huge, and the achievement sounds dull. For example, a climber can conquer the highest mountain, a surfer can conquer the largest wave, and a street-lagging specialist can boast that he has conquered 105 kilometers, which obviously will not impress his grandson. This sport appeared in Southern California in the 70s of the last century. The winner was determined by the maximum speed gained. There were no special requirements for the construction of street-lag boards then, because some riders surrounded themselves with a shell made of plastic or fiberglass. But after several competitions, numerous injuries of participants and spectators caused the closure of the races. The participants did not put up with such a decision and began to organize races illegally, and until the 90s this dangerous entertainment was not considered a sport, but later the organizers of the races began to take more seriously the issues of safety, regulation of tracks and requirements for equipment, and even this sport was included to the demonstration program of World Extreme Games. Cave diving belongs to the category of underwater sports. Cave diving is a type of diving performed in a tunnel underground, where there is a so-called overhead environment, a stone ceiling. This type of diving is considered the most difficult, since the diver does not have the possibility of an emergency ascent to the surface. Moreover, if the diver does not follow certain procedures and rules, he may simply get lost in the labyrinths of caves. Therefore, when taking cave courses, serious requirements are imposed on the skills and psychological training of the diver. Special attention is paid to equipment reliability and equipment configuration. The world of caves is diverse. Caves are karst, lava, ice and icebergs, sea and coral. Each one is beautiful and dangerous in its own way. Most of the caves are karst, they have the greatest length and depth. Lava caves are formed by the passage of volcanic gases through cooling lava flows. The limestone and gypsum caves are extraordinarily beautiful. These include the most famous Ordinskaya cave in Russia. Ice caves and icebergs are formed by the melting of ice at the edge of the iceberg base. Being very beautiful and unusual in shape, they are the most dangerous and unpredictable. Despite the danger, cave diving is a very exciting and interesting type of diving. Nature itself has taken care of the beauty of the underwater caves. There is no daylight in them, and only a bright beam of a lantern snatches out the bizarre shapes of stalactites, stalagmites, and stalagnates, passages, tunnels and halls. Motorsports. It is a very dangerous sport, and even the best athletes make mistakes that often end fatally. Unlike motorsport, there is no titanium frame for the protective pilot, and in the event of a collision with an opponent, which happens quite often, you will have to fly head over heels on the asphalt at a speed of 300 kilometers an hour. During its long history, this sport has claimed many lives. There are different types of race tracks, but the most dangerous is in Great Britain on the Isle of Man. And it passes through narrow streets along the edges of which there are houses. Pilots rush along these streets at a speed of more than 300 kilometers per hour. And at this speed this street narrows figuratively to the width of a bike, and on the way there are bridges and hatch covers. The Isle of Man race has more than 100 years of history, and more than 200 pilots have died during this time. The most famous and most victorious racer was Joy Dunlop, who won the Isle of Man race 26 times. Dunlop died tragically at the age of 48 in July 2000, and in a race not in Britain, but in Estonia. Well, that's all for today. Thank you all for watching. If it was interesting, support the video with likes. Thank you for subscribing, and take a look at what else we have prepared for you.